Former President Donald Trump was booked and arraigned on 37 criminal counts yesterday. The first American president, former or current, to be held and appear on federal charges in front of a judge. He pled not guilty to every single charge read, including the willful retention of national defense information and making false statements. Joining us now to break this down is friend of the stream and former head of the Illinois GOP, former federal and state prosecutor, Pat Brady. Pat, thank you for getting up with us this morning.
Good. How you doing, Brad?
All right, I'm doing well, my friend. A lot to unpack here, and you've seen it all, and you've never been shy about your feelings about Trump. But can you give us just your thoughts on this situation after seeing what took place yesterday?
Well, it's a bad day for America. I don't care if you're on the left and you feel vindicated because Trump's been indicted, or the right and you use this as a campaign rallying point. I mean, former president of the United States being indicted and appearing before a federal judge, that's bad for the country. It's bad for democracy. It's bad for our economy. And I think in the long run, it's bad for the Republican Party. So I take no joy in it, but I did read the entire indictment, and it's a pretty solid case.
Take me into that. Get into the weeds on me. What were a couple of things, as a guy who's read indictments like this, you've read charging documents. I mean, take me to a couple of the most damning vignettes.
Well, the one thing is it's a speaking indictment. And the feds do this often. Well, they'll really lay out the narrative in the indictment, and they did that here. But remember, that's probably only 1/3 or a quarter of the actual evidence they have in this case. The thing that really jumped out at me is the one portion where they actually had Donald Trump with a top secret document, showing it to his buddies, saying, yeah, when I was president, I could declassify this. I can't now. So you've basically got an admission to some of the elements of the crime in the indictment. The severity or the high level of the documents that he actually kept and their potential damage to our national security is another thing that jumped out at me. And just the last thing probably was this case is going to be proven up by all people that are around Trump. Everybody that Trump's hanging around right now, they're all going to be testifying against him whenever this goes to trial. So very interesting, good case. But I still think down there in Florida with this particular judge, it's not a slam dunk that the prosecutors are going to get conviction. I mean, she has the power at a certain point in the trial just to dismiss this case outright if she doesn't do it on a motion prior to the trial. So we're not there yet insofar as the conviction. But again, it's very bad. It's damaging to the country, and it's damaging to our democracy. In the long term, I think it's very damaging to the Republican Party.
So before, we were going to ask you about the judge and a couple questions now, but what do you think's next? I mean, do you think this is something where the former president could go to jail? That's a long time down the road, but just doing a cursory look at it and realizing how high the threshold has to be in federal cases, I mean, it's got to be, seemingly it's always so much higher than a state case or municipality, so on and so forth. Where do you see the play out?
It could. I feel actually worse for his co-defendant than I do for him. He was just kind of standing there, and he's subject to a lot of the same charges. I mean, if you look at the history of the statute and who's actually gone to jail and what they did, yeah, this is probably a case where they would. But this judge, who's a Trump appointee and has shown a predisposition to make some pretty crazy rulings, at the end of the day, I was saying this yesterday, I could see her not giving him jail. So we go through this big exercise, and there's no real punishment other than a felony conviction. But I don't want our former president going to jail. I don't want any of this. So I say that not with any sense of satisfaction. It's all bad. But you also have to remember he's got a case in New York, which I think is nonsense. He has this case. He's probably going to get indicted in Georgia in the state court on trying to rig the election down there or interfere in the election, and one more federal investigation into January 6th. So he's got a lot of legal perils ahead of him in the next 7 or 8 months.
Do you think Georgia's nonsense too, or could that be?
No, I think
serious?
Georgia is legitimate. Now, I obviously don't know what evidence they have, who they talked to. I do think, just from reading what you read, the telephone call alone is not enough. They're going to need more than that, and I'm hoping that when they do decide to indict a former president, if they do, that they have overwhelming evidence. I know there's only supposed to be one standard of justice, but in my opinion, when you're indicting a former president, you better have your case pretty solid.
Yeah, it better be black or white. And like you said, it does no one any good. No one should be celebrating this or doing any touchdown dances. I mean, Gerald Ford cost him his political career when he pardoned Nixon, just under the thought that we should not have a former president behind bars. What does this do for President Trump's run? I mean, considering he's still polling at 60+% among Republicans, is that crazy, or is that just our world?
The position of a lot of the folks that support him, and I understand why they're Trump supporters. There are a lot of people in 2016 that felt they were left out of the process. They weren't being listened to. The elites were running things, and the swamp was full, and they got behind Trump. Now they're so invested in him, no matter what he does, they're going to be with him. And they perceive all of this, good friends of mine, as just nothing more than a witch hunt. And again, they're going after Trump because they don't like Trump. It actually helps him politically. I bet you he raised $10–15 million in the last couple of days based just on their last, 36 hours based on this indictment. So politically it helps him. But the reality is, and I say this as a conservative Republican who wants conservative Republicans elected, Trump has been an unmitigated disaster for the conservative movement. We haven't won anything since 2016. We lost the White House in 20. We lost the Senate because he went down there and told people not to vote. And we should have probably a 20-seat majority in the House, and we've only got 4. And we're probably, if he's at the top of the ticket, we're not going to win back the U.S. Senate, which we should. And we have, 23 of the 33 seats that are up are Democrats. So the reality is, if you like Trump, that's fine. But if you want conservative government, if you want a Republican, if you don't like what Joe Biden's doing, Donald Trump's not the guy to do it for you. We have a whole slew of great candidates that would easily, I think, much more easily than Donald Trump beat Joe Biden.
One final quick question for you, Pat. Let's talk about this judge. The judge in the federal case is a Trump appointee and has made some questionable judgements in the past.
That's the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, one of the most conservative courts in the country, saying that they just and these are two of the 3 judges were Trump appointees. Like, well, this has no basis in law.
We're questioning this other judge who is a Trump appointee. So this is a real wild card, would you not say?
Yeah, and she has a lot of control. She can control how quickly this case goes. She controls jury selection. At the end of the government's case, she also will get a motion to dismiss the case, which they always make, which is rarely granted. She can dismiss this case outright after the government's evidence goes in, and there's no appeal of that.
It is her case, too. Like, she has to recuse herself or take it. There's no one else that could step in here and intervene, right?
Well, they could file a motion to recuse, and it's rarely granted. And it's a very tricky thing to do. Sometimes they just send a letter saying, Judge, we think based on your rulings in this case, you've shown a bias, you can't be fair. And then she recuses herself. Either side can make a motion for that. It's actually called a writ of mandamus. It goes to the 11th Circuit to get her thrown off. But that rarely, if ever, happens. And it's just she's going to be the judge.
Thank you. So she's going to be the judge. Once we get into Latin, we've gone too far here on the stream. So Pat Brady, friend of the stream, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We got to bring in our TV friends at a quick moment for an update.